So what I'm going to do is start with just a blank file that we can populate with the information we want to bring in and turn into text. So the first thing I want to do is get to the Carlson CADNet commands, which are accessed by clicking on this icon right here. You'll see for CADNet, and let's go to PDF and import a PDF file. Now you can navigate to the folder where this information is and select on the file. Here's a little thumbnail preview, and let's open that. And then sometimes you'll need to mess around with these settings. At least for right now, this has kind of worked for me, and at least with this one, it seems to be fine. So I'm just going to click on Insert Line Work, and it's going to ask me for a couple things. You'll see in the bottom left here, it says Pick Point to Insert PDF. Click anywhere on the screen, and rotation angle, I keep it at 0. Scale can be 1, it doesn't matter. And we now have a file that has, if you see here, basically this is a polyline. It has line work that these numbers are made of, which is what we're going to try to take and turn into text. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go over here and convert polylines to text, because that's what we have. We brought in the line work, and now we're going to take those polylines and convert those into text. So let's click on that, and what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called an OCR file, an optical character recognition file, and I click on new and it says vector OCR. That works for me, and I'm going to open that up, and what I have now is this blank file that we talked about before, and I'm going to populate it with the things I want to convert. So the process basically goes like this. I add something, and the character I want to add is the number 1. I'm going to say OK to that, and then I'm going to use standard text. You can make any type you want. Standard works fine for me. I say OK, and then what it wants to do, you'll see it says select object. So I'm going to go to a number 1, and I'm going to pick on it, and I want you to notice something here. There's a tail on the number 1 that isn't selected. Now I could click on that, and you'll see it picks 2 items to make that one number, but I think I can get away with just that one. So I hold down Shift and click, and then that gets rid of it, and then I hit Enter, and it's going to ask you a couple other questions. There's a base angle for the slant of the text, and we'll leave that at 0, and it now will give me the number 1 whenever it recognizes this character. Okay, I'll just add one more to show you. Let's add the number 5 and say OK. Standard. Gets a little bit boring, but it's kind of consistent. And we click on this, and all that is selected. That's good for number 5, and the base angle is 0, and we now have number 1 and number 5 that are selected. So we have everything that we need as we go through this. So let me exit, and let me open up the file that I made with all these pieces in it and show you what that looks like. So you see I've got a plus sign, minus, the decimal point, all the numbers. The plus sign is another odd one. This is kind of half of the plus sign, but it seemed to work out instead of the 2 pieces that made it up. So you can see these are all pretty easy to recognize as numbers. Sometimes 8s and 9s get pretty weird, but now what I'm going to do is take and identify some of this line work that I want to convert into text. So now that I've got this line work and a pretty decent OCR file, I want to do some conversion. And I've kind of set myself up here to show you the problems you can get into and how you can possibly get out of them. So I'll show you a little trick here along the way. And this happens quite a bit with different characters. I kind of identified the number 1 previously because it's going to give me some trouble, and I want to show you how I end up fixing that. So let's go to Convert Polylines to Text, open up this file. You see it's got everything populated. I'm going to click on Convert, and what I want to do is just do a click here and a click here, and then hit Enter, and it converted 50 text characters, and I say Exit, and you see we've got a bit of a train wreck. And what is happening after a little bit of experimentation, let me just do a Control Z and back out of that, is that the number 1 is giving me some trouble. And what I need to do is get rid of the tail of that number 1 because it's causing problems. So here's a little way that you can get rid of this quite easily. I'm going to highlight that and go over to my properties, which I dock on the right. And you'll see that the length of this is 0.0175. So what I want to do is just right click and do a quick select here and go to the drawing and pick every polyline that has a length that equals 0.0175 and say OK, and you'll see that now all those tails in the number 1 are highlighted. I'm just going to hit the delete key and get rid of those. Let's see if that helps me out a little bit. So I can right click to recall a previous command and do the PL to text and open this up and say convert, and let's try this again and see how we do. And converted 44 characters, and I say exit, and now things have gone well. So you'll see what I have now is, if I come over here, a piece of text, and that information on the text, as you'll see the contents here, are exactly what was on that picture or that line work before. So this has worked out well. I can take this and copy and paste it over to Excel so I can have this information, or I can table it here and read that into a points file and get that information here. I can do letters if I want to, as well as all the numbers. So this is just a way for you to convert text and get something that you need when you've got a lot of information. And this job had just pages and pages of this stuff, so we were able to convert that quite easily and make it go pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, and any questions, certainly don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be glad to help any way I can.